Everybody talks about running 37s on a Bronco. Lift kits, suspension, steering, geometry, but almost nobody ever talks about the spare tire. And that got me thinking, yeah, I've seen this shit before. Because years ago, Jeep owners did the same thing. Bigger tires, heavier spares, and they thought, no big deal. Until one day it turns into, what the fuck's going on back there? Tailgate sagging, hinges loosening, mounts cracking, and it makes you wonder, are Broncos going down the same damn road? I'm John and this is Project KEHM. No sponsors, no discount codes, no influencer bullshit. Just real builds, real results, and plain spoken explanations to help you understand this shit. If you've been around Jeeps, you've already seen how this plays out. On my JL, I run a hinge-mounted carrier, and those systems exist for a reason. At first, everything seems fine. Then over time, tailgates start sagging, bolts start backing out, and you start to see cracks around the mounts. Because hanging a 100-pound plus tire off the back door, well, that's just a bad long-term idea. So the aftermarket fixed it. They moved the load into the hinge structure where it belonged the whole time. Imagine that. Fucking genius. Here's the thing, Broncos, they're in the infant stage, and infants look fine on the outside, right up until you open up that diaper and realize there's some shit going on, and I didn't see that coming. That's where we're at. Once you start thinking about it, there's really three ways people deal with this. First, do nothing. Bolt the 37s on, send it. A lot of people do this and they never look back. Second, reinforce the tailgate. Add a plate and spread the load. That helps, but it's still a door doing a job it really wasn't designed to do. Third, move the load somewhere stronger. That's where carriers come in. Once you get into carriers, there's really two ways people solve this. First, a bumper swing out carrier. These are strong as hell because the weight goes into the frame and not the door. That's a big win. But now you've got a heavy tire sitting out there on a long arm, and that distance, that's leverage. Distance turning into pressure. And every time you open the back, you got to open the carrier first and then the tailgate. Great on the trail, pain in the ass at the grocery store. Now the second option, hinge-mounted carrier, and that's what I'm running. Instead of hanging the weight off the sheet metal, it ties directly into the hinge structure, the part that was designed to carry the load. So now the load path makes sense. The hinges do all the work which they were designed to do the whole time. And yeah, it's not weightless. You're adding structure, you're adding hardware, but you're putting the stress where it belongs. Now Turn Offroad does offer a bumper swing out that links to the tailgate, so it opens in one motion. It's a cool setup, but it's still more weight, more hinges, more latches, and more shit to rattle. I wanted a simpler, cleaner load path, fewer moving parts, less crap to deal with. And for a simple 37, this made more sense to me. So here's the part that made me stop and think. Most Broncos running 37s are only a few years old. So even if there is a long-term problem, we haven't seen it yet. That's exactly how it started with Jeeps. It was like, nah, it's fine. And a few years later, you started hearing it. Little noises, bolts loosening, things just feeling off. Nothing catastrophic, just enough to tell you that things are slowly getting worse. So here's where things got a little Project KEHM. The hinge carrier showed up and the packaging was rough. It punched through the box, got dragged across the hinge ends, and fucked up the powder coat in the metal. There was even a burr big enough that the hinge sleeve wouldn't slide over. Structurally fine, but I had to hit it with a Dremel just to make it usable. And look, if I'm paying for a new part, I expect a new part. If I wanted something already beat up, I would have gone to Facebook Marketplace. I reached out to Turn, and at first I didn't hear anything about the damage, but then Todd reached out, apologized, and made it right. And more importantly, he walked through my actual setup and made sure everything I was doing would actually work together. That matters. So yeah, the packaging sucked, but they owned it, and they made sure I didn't build this wrong. And that goes a long way with me. Before I purchased anything else, I put the stock tire mount on the hinge carrier. And yeah, it worked, but it pushed the tire way the fuck out, a lot further than I liked. And this whole video is about leverage, so I'm not gonna pretend it's fine. So I switched to the adjustable mount. Because every inch you pull that tire in, well, that reduces stress on the hinge mounts, and that's the whole game. And yeah, some people online are fine with that. They're filling that gap with racket balls. For them, that's fine. But for me, no. There were some real-world fitment issues that I ran into that people should know about, because none of this exists on a product page. This is stuff I ran into in the garage. First, the backup camera didn't fit in the adjustable mount. On mine, the camera didn't sit tight. It had enough play that you could push on it and would actually tilt crooked inside the mount. So I had to end up shimming it with some rubber and a dab of epoxy just to get it to sit straight and to stay pointed where it should. Hopefully that'll hold. Second, the brake light wiring. The install video has you mount the plate first and then install the brake light. But the wire actually needs to run behind the tire mount plate. So if you follow the video step by step, you end up loosening everything back up just to route the wire correctly. This should definitely be clearer in the instructions. And here's a part that really needs to be explained better. The tire measurement. The video shows you laying a straight edge across the tire and then measuring from the hub to the straight edge. But when I did that, the measurement came out to 7.25 inches. But the adjustable mount doesn't have that much adjustment. So I'm standing there thinking, shit, this isn't gonna fit. What the video never explains is those measurements apparently only apply if you're using the adjustable mount on a stock tailgate. Once you add the hinge carrier, it moves the mounting point outward. And this actually gives you more adjustment range to pull the tire back in. So even though the measurement said 7.25 inches, I was actually able to pull the tire inward to get it to sit snug. But then I ran into another issue. The brake light mount they provided pushes the light forward from the tire. And what this does is cause the tire to hit the brake light before you can snug it up and tighten everything down. The only reason I made this work is because I had already bought a separate relocation mount earlier, and I ended up mixing up parts to get everything to clear and sit where it should. So yeah, it works, but it took the hinge carrier, the adjustable mount, and a different brake light relocation mount to make everything fit the way it should. This is the kind of stuff you don't learn from the product page. This is stuff you learn in the garage. And honestly, this is why my channel exists. I figured this shit out so you don't have to. Now here's the part nobody wants to talk about. This setup is heavy. Stock tire and mount, right around 80 pounds. I just added 195 pounds. So yeah, that's 100 extra pounds to the rear of the Bronco. And that sounds like a lot, because it is. But here's the difference. This weight's now going into the hinge structure and not beating the shit out of the tailgate. And I'll take that any day. You can have a lighter setup sitting way out doing more damage over time than a heavier setup pulled in tight where it belonged. That's the part most people miss. The position still matters. The further the tire sticks out, the more leverage it creates. And leverage? Well, that's just distance turning into pressure. Like when Jax is staring at you from 5 feet away eating a burger. Eventually, that burger belongs to him. That's leverage. And if you're already running 37s, or thinking about it, I already did a full breakdown on how this setup actually performs after the suspension. And if you're wondering why Broncos start snapping tire rods once people jump to bigger tires, I got that video too. Because the truth is simple, 37s don't break Broncos. Bad decisions do. And if you understand how this stuff actually works, you can build it right and not deal with the same problem later. And that's the whole point of this channel. I'll keep wrenching, I'll keep testing, and if something's worth talking about, I'll talk about it. I'm John, and this is Project KEHM.